We open our show with John Morrison already in the ring and he introduces the new WWE champion, The Miz. The Miz comes out and tells that he told everyone he would beat Drew McIntyre and that Drew McIntyre can never beat him when it comes to a championship match. He says that he has been a WWE champion before, but this championship means a lot to him because his wife made the pinfall and awarded him the WWE title. This brings out Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon tells Miz to give him the title because he did not win the championship as Maurice is not a contracted WWE official. So he better return the title to Shane McMahon so he can give it back to Drew McIntyre. The Miz says that this is not about Maurice, this is about Shane McMahon and The Miz having personal feud in the past, and that Shane McMahon never liked The Miz, not even when they were tag team champions. Miz adds that he would respect Shane McMahon a lot more if he would just come out and say that he hates The Miz's guts. The Miz is interrupted by Drew McIntyre. Before Drew could say anything, The Miz goes off on him and says that he knows Drew McIntyre has been crying all day long about how The Miz beat him at the Royal Rumble and he's so desperately wanting his title back. Miz adds that he was actually impressed that Drew McIntyre didn't take it to Twitter to complain about before The Miz could finish. Drew McIntyre cuts him off and tells him to shut up, as that another word out of The Miz's mouth will be his last. Says that he is man enough to accept the fact that he did not pin The Miz last night, but is Miz man enough to accepted that he also did not pin Drew McIntyre. Drew says that he is going to let The Miz hold the title Elimination Chamber and he wants The Miz to polish that championship up real nice for the real champ, because at Elimination Chamber the beating Drew McIntyre gave Miz at the Royal Rumble will be nothing in compared to what's coming to him at the Elimination Chamber. And before Drew leaves, Drew tells The Miz to tell his best friend John Cena that after he's done with him, his ass is next. That intense promo, we go backstage where Damian Priest is getting ready for his match with Sheamus, but Sheamus walks into his locker room and says that there is no shame in losing to Randy Orton. He's one of the best of this generation. Damian Priest says that he is not ashamed, at least he was on the Royal Rumble, unlike Sheamus who was on the kickoff show losing to John Morrison. This leads to a huge brawl. It spills inside the ring and Damian Priest beats Sheamus, but after the match Elias comes out and starts taunting Damian Priest about how he's nothing more than an Elias wannabe and calls himself a rock star. This angers Damian Priest, but Jackson Ryker attacks him from behind. Elias joins the party by hitting Damian Priest with the guitar. We go backstage where Lacey Evans storms into Peyton Royce's locker room and says that why did she have to get involved with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Royce responds that whatever has happened, but tonight Lacey Evans is on her own as Peyton Royce is in the #1 contenders match with Mandy Rose. Lacey Evans reminds Peyton Royce that they're tag team partners. Peyton Royce says that this tag team is officially done. And up next, the debuting Karrion Kross and Scarlett come out to the ring and they explain their action of why they did what they did to The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Kross claims that he wants to be the most feared and the most dominant man in the WWE, and he looked at who was the #1 feared competitor here, and he said that there's nobody more feared than The Fiend, so he took the animal to the yard and he pulled the trigger. But they add that they're still not satisfied and they won't be until they pin The Fiend right here in the middle of the ring. Strowman comes out and says that Karrion Kross is not a man to attack another man from behind when he's not looking. Adds that if Kross wants the most dominant competitor on the WWE roster, he's looking at him right now. On adds that last night he had fun tossing all the children around, but the fun needs to stop and he needs monsters. So therefore he is now wanting a monsters division on Raw. Kross makes it very clear that Braun Strowman is barking up the wrong tree, and if Kross wants, he can lay out Braun Strowman like that. Strowman challenges him and Kross accepts. Monsters match will not take place until Elimination Chamber, but right now it's tag team match. Can Lacey Evans find herself with the tag team partner when she faces Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Naomi steps up to help her, but during the body of the match, Lacey Evans leaves Naomi high and dry to face Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Taking advantage, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler pick up a huge win. Go backstage into Triple H's locker room where Shane McMahon joins in the conversation and asks Triple H about what happened at the Royal Rumble regarding John Cena, and also asks him about John Cena's contractual situation. Triple H says that he has everything under control and John Cena can speak for himself when he wants to speak. McMahon says that he trusts Triple H but questions about what Shane McMahon is going to be doing in WrestleMania and how he's going to be involved. Triple H tells Shane McMahon that Shane McMahon is a 51-year-old man and nobody wants to see him take another high bump. Triple H adds that why doesn't Shane McMahon come up with something new and try to reinvent himself. Things are boiling high in the McMahon family, but right now let's get back to the ring as AJ Styles takes on Ricochet and pins him with a phenomenal forearm. Backstage, Riddle is about to cut a promo on his victory at the Royal Rumble, but John Morrison interrupts him and says that since he pinned a former WWE champion last night at the Royal Rumble, how about Riddle give him an opportunity at the United States Championship match? Riddle thinks it's a great idea and next week their match will happen. Just next week, but right now it's time to find out who will be the #1 contender for the Women's Championship as Peyton Royce takes on Mandy Rose and Peyton Royce picks up a win. Peyton Royce takes the mic and says that since Rhea Ripley has won the Royal Rumble, Asuka has been injured for more than 30 days. WWE should just strip Asuka of the championship and award it to Peyton Royce right here, right now. But that does not happen as Asuka makes her return and she attacks Peyton Royce, dumping her out of the ring and tells Peyton Royce to be ready for Asuka at the Elimination Chamber. Up next, Randy Orton comes out and says that he knows exactly why John Cena attacked Drew McIntyre at last night's Royal Rumble. He says that John Cena has finally accepted the dark side and says that after all these years of hugging babies and kissing them, has finally showed his true colors. Orton claims that John Cena is sick and tired of all the disrespect that is shown to him and all the other veterans in the back by the young generation, that these millennials think that they deserve everything, if they're not given that, they take it to Twitter to start complaining and crying. And how does Randy Orton know this? Because he had a chat with John Cena last night. Keith Lee comes out and says that the only thing Randy Orton is going to be chatting to is his leg when it's shoved right up Randy Orton's ass. Lee says that only John Cena knows what John Cena did, and John Cena is a man that will come out here and tell everyone what he did and why he did it, and until he says that Keith Lee is firmly standing behind John Cena and totally supports his decision. Keith Lee says that one thing he does not support is Randy Orton, and he has no problem on dropping Randy Orton on his head right now in a match. Randy Orton says that the only time Keith Lee is taken seriously is when he gets a response that "thank you, please drive through." Orton questions since when did Keith Lee join the WWE creative team to start making matches on the spot. Orton says that he is Randy Orton and he has some pull around here to make matches, and since Keith Lee wants his ass to be kicked that badly, he'll have to wait until Elimination Chamber where he can finally put an end to Keith Lee's entire career. Keith Lee says why wait and starts attacking Randy Orton until security has to pull them apart, which leads into our main event as Miz beats Jeff Hardy with a skull-crushing finale to end the show. Definitely end the show on a high note with an overall rating of 81. Let's take a look at how our feedback is, which has been excellent from 5,000 fans, and they think that we struggled with the show. And our ratings are 2.79. Let's see how did we perform overall. We're still maintaining a dominant lead. That's all for the show. Guys, please do leave a like and comment. Thank you.